Everybody, thanks for joining us. Cujo here with Full Armor Strategic Solutions. I've been getting a ton of questions on tourniquets. So for the next few videos, we're going to be talking about tourniquets, pros and cons, and bottom line is what you need to know. Today, we're going to be talking about the SOF T tourniquet. This guy right here. Some of you may have used this, and this will be a refresh. Some of you may have never bought a tourniquet yet, and you'll be purchasing your first one here shortly. So we're just going to go through this thing. I've personally used this thing. It's tried. It's proven. Many special operations units still continue to use this guy. These guys are a fantastic tool. Now, if you join us for our active shooter class or our TCCC class, these are one of the tools that you'll be getting your hands on. So let's start with the design of this thing. As you can see, it's predominantly made of webbing. You have the top portion, which has the windlass, and the bottom portion, which has this really long tail. The reason that has that, we're not all created equal. Some of us are big mutant types, and then some of us are little tiny people. So what that is whether you're going around a thigh or an arm, it will be able to fit your need, hopefully. Coming back, get a little close up here. You'll take the end of the tail, which is right here, and you will slide it through a clip mechanism. Right there on the bottom, get you a little front shot. Right here, still working on my angulation of my lights, guys. Thanks for the patience. Coming around the middle, you'll see one of the locking triangles. You'll see the metal windlass, and you'll see another locking triangle. So because this is metal, this has a little bit of weight to it. Other guys on the market, they can be a little lighter. And the thing with dexterity here, if you've got blood on your hands, or jungle, or sand, or wherever you're at, what's going on. That can change the game a little bit. So training. Always train with your equipment. If this is for yourself or you're buying it for a loved one, make sure you train with them and train with them regularly. Here you go. So on the bottom, back to that little clip, you'll notice that little screw that helps to lock it in place. These things are not perfect. We don't live in a perfect world, so you're always going to be reassessing anyway. Take that bottom, slide it up and through. I don't know if you can see that there. Up and through, and then pull. And that's it. For this case, we're going to be going over on my left arm. So you can see here. So I'm going to slide up my left arm all the way up as high as you can go. As high as you can go. When you get here, take that tail and just start pulling tight. Just start pulling tight. A lot of people, I've seen people try and use two hands. You don't need to use two hands. Just grab it like a man and pull it. And there you go. You'll see. You'll notice that it's sitting on top. You never want the tourniquet to ride in the back or underneath or the bottom. You never want to cover a tourniquet up. The reason that is because no matter how tight these guys are, they move. So you're going to be reassessing. Every time, if you put it on yourself and you move, you reassess it. If you put it on a buddy, they move, you're going to reassess it. They go from standing to moving to anything. They move. Reassess that tourniquet. Again, the whole point of this thing is direct pressure to stop a life-threatening bleed. Best way to do that is on your first go around. So get it on tight, get it on right, and then get going. Once you've got this thing pulled through, all the way down, tightened, then just pick up that windlass slightly and begin to twist. And the number one question that you will ask me then is, Cujo, how do I know when to stop tightening the tourniquet? That's easy, when the bleeding stops. Whether it's training or in real world and the arm is actually there and accessible, come right down to your pulse. And if you don't feel a pulse, you got it right. Again, you're going to be reassessing these things. Actually, you can take a look at the color of my right arm versus the color of my left arm. You can tell it's doing a really good job. The last detail with these things that you're going to do here is you're going to turn in that screw, and then I take this flap and I move it out of the way. The reason that is, if I've got this on somebody else, it's going to be like a shoelace for a kid, right? You don't want to be dragging it, pulling it, getting it caught, tripping on it. So just get it up, around, and get it off. You'll notice, let me get real close here, right? All you have to do is flip, and then you can reassess, you can retighten, whatever you need to be doing right here. Back on the bottom, when you're done and you're good to go, ready to take it off, undo that screw, and then you can actually just depress the gator clip, and you can pull it right off. Just like that. A note for those on training, and we're going to talk about training with this guy specifically on a later video, is Don't get used to just yanking tourniquets off really fast, because again, training is what matters. You don't want to get in a habit of running up the tourniquets and taking them off fast. So take them off slow. A side note: when somebody else gets a tourniquet put on them, they're not comfortable. They're not, and if they were unconscious before and they come to, they very well could be trying to take it off themselves. So if you got somebody who has got themselves a tourniquet, again, if you move them, you're going to reassess it, and you're going to be paying close attention to what's going on with them in this tourniquet anyway. Never cover this guy up. Make sure that it's facing you, and make sure that placement is high. Now, for my medical types out there, for the civilian world, or my guys, thank you for your service, who've been in the Vietnam days and era like that. Tourniquets weren't used like they are today. So make sure that you're reassessing them. Make sure you're putting them high up. You can look at the TCCC for which is Trauma Combat Casualty Care for the setting of combat field trauma. And that's the setting. We're going to get into injuries on another video, but the bottom line is just because you get a hole down here doesn't mean it doesn't pinball all the way up the arm. So that's why we put it on high. We do that to stay safe, right? Optimum here. Staging these guys, always keep a tourniquet on you. Not necessarily this one. I'm going to show you one on our next video, which is going to be a little lighter, a little more pocket friendly. Keep one in an IFAC or an individual first aid kit. Keep one in a go bag. For those that like to carry a purse, you can keep one in a purse. But again, just going back with these things: train, train, train. I can't stress the importance of what training is. We don't rise to the occasion; we default to our level of training. So when you can do this rapidly, when you do it in training, and when it counts, you'll be able to rise to that occasion. Like, share, comment below. Thanks again for all you checking out my video, and we'll see you next time. Cujo out.